Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you with us today. Look, if you're expanding your business into the Hawkeye state, you've probably figured out that dealing with state taxes can kind of feel like navigating a maze blindfolded. But honestly, don't worry, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to completely demystify the Iowa sales tax permit process. We are taking all that dense, bureaucratic, regulatory jargon and turning it into a super clear, actionable roadmap, just for you.
Are you ready to start selling in Iowa and need to navigate the process of getting a sales tax permit? This explainer is your definitive guide to making it happen seamlessly.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, who needs a permit? Second, preparing your application. Third, the application process itself. Fourth, what happens next. And finally, staying compliant in Iowa. Let's kick things off with Section 1. Who needs a permit? Before we even think about applying, we need to confirm if you actually need one under Iowa law. To answer that, we have to talk about a little concept called nexus. In the tax world, nexus is basically just a fancy legal word for connection. Iowa recognizes two primary types of connection that obligate you to collect tax: physical nexus and economic nexus. If your business triggers either of these, you're going to need a permit. So physical nexus is exactly what it sounds like, having a tangible presence in the state. Now, obviously, a brick-and-mortar storefront or an office counts, but it goes way beyond that. Do you have remote employees or independent sales reps working out of Iowa? That's physical nexus. How about inventory? If you store physical goods in an Iowa warehouse, and yes, that includes third-party logistics facilities or an Amazon FBA fulfillment center, that absolutely triggers a physical presence. Even setting up a temporary booth at an Iowa trade show or county fair obligates you to register. And catch this, Iowa doesn't even issue temporary permits. You have to get a permanent one, even if you're just there for a weekend event. But what if you're a completely remote seller? No offices, no inventory, no employees in Iowa. Well, since 2018, Iowa enforces an economic nexus rule. If your business crosses $100,000 in gross revenue from Iowa sales during the current or previous calendar year, boom, you've established an economic nexus. That timeline caveat is super crucial, by the way. If you hit it last year, you are obligated this year. And once you cross that $100,000 threshold, you have to start collecting tax on the first day of the next month that starts at least 30 days after crossing it. Moving right along to Section 2, preparing your application. Gathering your documents beforehand is going to make the actual registration a total breeze. Having this exact checklist ready prevents those incredibly frustrating delays. You're going to need your federal employer identification number or your social security number if you're a sole proprietor. You'll need your exact legal business name, your entity structure, so whether you're an LLC or a corporation, and your NAICS code, which is just what classifies your specific industry. But pay really close attention to that estimated Iowa sales tax liability. You have to estimate how much tax you plan to collect. This isn't just a random bureaucratic question. The state actually uses this specific estimate to assign your filing frequency. Now, here is a surprisingly awesome fact. Unlike some states that hit you with initial registration fees or ongoing renewal costs, Iowa charges absolutely $0 for a standard sales tax permit registration. Literally nothing. It is completely free to apply, and there are no renewal fees to sweat over down the line. It's a really great way the state removes financial barriers for businesses of all sizes. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3, the application process. So, the absolute fastest, most highly recommended pathway by the Department of Revenue is their modern online portal. It's called GovConnect Iowa. It's super straightforward. You just go to the site, create a secure logon, select Register a New Business, and fill out the form using that handy checklist we just talked about. Hit Submit, and you are basically good to go. Now, while the online portal is definitely the gold standard, the state does still offer a paper alternative. It's known as Form 78-005. If you really strongly prefer paper, you can mail or fax this in. But I gotta warn you, paper applications come with some strict rules. Stamped, typed, or generic digital signatures are legally completely unacceptable here. It has to be signed by hand by an owner or an authorized corporate officer. Plus, using paper means someone at the state has to manually enter your data, which significantly slows down your processing time. Oh, and before we move on, I have a massive pro tip for you remote sellers out there. Iowa is a full member of the Streamline Sales and Use Tax Agreement. What does that mean for you? Well, if you need to register in several states at once, you can skip GovConnect Iowa entirely. You can use the streamlined sales tax registration system, the STRS portal, instead. It lets you fill out a single, unified application that registers you in Iowa and over 20 other participating states at the exact same time. And yep, it's still free.
So you've applied. Section 4. What happens next?
This timeline is fantastic news for getting your business up and running quickly. At 0 minutes, literally the exact second you hit submit online, you can legally start collecting sales tax. No joke. You do not have to wait around for an official letter in the mail. Your confirmation copy serves as your temporary proof. Usually within about 1 business day, your official account number is going to be issued electronically in your online account. As for the actual physical paper permit, that'll arrive in the mail eventually, usually taking up to 6 weeks, but it doesn't hold up your operations for even a second. Getting the permit is only half the battle. Let's look at Section 5, staying compliant in Iowa. Remember that tax liability estimate we talked about earlier? Well, Iowa uses it to assign your filing schedule. If you estimate collecting under $1,200 a year, you are going to be an annual filer, with returns due January 31st. If you estimate over $1,200 a year, you become a monthly filer, and your return is due on the last day of the following month. Notably, there is no quarterly option here in Iowa. You're generally either annual, monthly, or a seasonal filer. And keep in mind, all these returns must be filed electronically. When it comes to the actual math, Iowa uses what's called destination-based sourcing. Basically, you are responsible for collecting the state's base tax rate, which is 6%. But on top of that, you also have to collect any applicable local option sales tax based on the customer's exact delivery address. That can be up to an additional 1%. So depending on exactly where in Iowa your product is landing, you are calculating a combined rate of 6 to 7%. Now, please pay very close attention to this next point. Missing this is a massive pitfall that catches so many new businesses off guard. It's called the zero return requirement. If you hold a valid Iowa sales tax permit, you have a legal obligation to file a return for your assigned period, even if you made absolutely zero sales and collected zero tax. If you just skip filing because you had a slow month, the state will hit you with totally unnecessary failure to file penalties. So always file your zero return. To make sure you survive any potential audits, let's run through some rapid-fire best practices. Number 1, like we just said, always file, even for $0 periods. 2, diligently maintain your customers' exemption and resale certificates. If you get audited and can't produce them, you are on the hook for that uncollected tax. 3, keep an eye on your liability. If your sales suddenly spike, your filing frequency might change. 4, be sure to separately state exempt shipping charges on your invoices. Otherwise, the shipping itself becomes taxable. And finally, update your point-of-sale systems with your new permit info immediately so the math is perfectly automated from day one. Navigating Iowa's sales tax is incredibly manageable once you break it down like this, but it definitely requires rigorous organization, and it really leaves you wondering, if your business scales into a brand new state tomorrow, is your back-end data clean enough and structured enough to survive an unexpected audit? Because true tax compliance isn't just about dodging penalties. It's about building a robust foundation that allows your business to scale fearlessly. And that brings us to the end of our journey today. Remember, tax laws are constantly evolving, so while we've covered the absolute best practices directly from the source material, I highly encourage you to consult with a qualified tax professional or CPA for your specific business concerns. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep growing your business, and I will see you in the next explainer. Disclaimer: the information provided in this explainer is for educational purposes only and should not be considered legal or financial advice.